Olá, sejam todos bem-vindos a mais um programa Business Connection by Ibrei. Sou a Kemi do Ibrei e neste programa estaremos sempre trazendo economistas, empresários e autoridades especializadas em países da Ásia. Você vai conhecer também o panorama geral sobre os países asiáticos e suas relações bilaterais com o Brasil, vislumbrar novas possibilidades de negócios entre o Brasil e a Ásia e também ficar por dentro das dicas de etiqueta no mundo dos negócios nos países asiáticos. No episódio de hoje, vamos conversar com a diretora do Centro Cultural Indiano, senhora Puja Kaushik, e com o empresário Lakhi Daswani. Quando falamos sobre a cultura indiana, qual a primeira coisa que vem à sua mente? Religião, yoga, culinária, Bollywood? Convidamos hoje a senhora Puja Kaushik, que é museóloga e trabalha ativamente na área de arte e cultura há 20 anos. Ela tem formação acadêmica em História e Museologia e já trabalhou com alguns dos melhores museus com coleções e conhecedores de arte. Atualmente, ela é a diretora do Centro Cultural Indiano de São Paulo e trabalha ativamente para promover a arte e a cultura indiana no Brasil. E se você pensou em culinária quando fiz a pergunta lá atrás, e você é de São Paulo, com certeza conhece o restaurante Tandoor. Sr. Lakhi Daswani é o empresário responsável pelo restaurante e está presente conosco. Ele é um empresário bem-sucedido, originário de Mumbai, na Índia, que se estabeleceu no Brasil em 1974. E antes de vir a São Paulo, em 1985, ele viveu em Manaus, onde foi CEO de uma trading. Depois, passou por todas as oscilações econômicas que o Brasil sofreu durante todos esses anos e, em 1991, abriu o Tandoor com a sua esposa Mancha Daswani. O Tandoor é considerado o restaurante mais autêntico e tradicional da Índia em São Paulo, com mais de quase 4.000 resenhas no Google e no TripAdvisor, onde ocupa a posição número 159 de 17.641 restaurantes em São Paulo e possui o melhor ranking de restaurantes indianos. É um prazer enorme tê-los em nosso programa, senhora Puja Kaushik e senhor Lakhi Daswani. Miss Puja, for how long has the Indian Cultural Center been in São Paulo? Could you please share with us what are the activities and access to the general public?
Thank you, Akemi. Thank you. First, I would like to thank you for this opportunity, for inviting me to be a part of this wonderful initiative that you've taken. And thank you so much to Mr. Daswani also for joining us today. It's a pleasure to be joining you, today on this special occasion. Thank you so much. So to answer your question about the Cultural Center, since when have we been here and what are we doing? So the Cultural Center was established here in São Paulo in 2011, May 2011. And we've almost been here for 10 years now. And so just to give you an idea, the Cultural Center is actually a branch of or a representative of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, which is the apex body for any cultural collaborations or for developing cultural relations, across the world. So you could say that we are the cultural wing of the Consulate General of India here in São Paulo. And so since the time we've been here, or we've been functioning here in São Paulo, the center has been offering various sort of activities. Be it dance, be it music, be it the culinary aspects, be it yoga, meditation. We offer classes in the languages, in teaching the Indian languages of Hindi and Sanskrit. So these are the classes that are happening at the center, and all these classes are free of cost. I mean, this is the time when I'm speaking, the pre-pandemic era actually. So these classes were all happening at the center till March 2020. And apart from this, the cultural center is doing various activities or doing various events to build up the cultural connects or cultural collaborations, to bring the India and Brazil culture much more closer, really. So all the Indian festivals are celebrated, be it Diwali, be it Holi, Dasara, all the Indian festivals are celebrated at the center. And I'm happy to say that the center is more visited by the Brazilians than the Indians living here. So all our events are actually attended, by a lot of Brazilians, and they really enjoy being a part of the celebrations, because I think getting to know, the little details of, how a certain activity is done, or how you do a small puja, or when you talk about the various deities. So, but that's something that is of interest to many of the Brazilians, and they enjoy being a part of it. So, and apart from this, we have lectures on various aspects: yoga, meditation, Ayurveda. On various, important events are also celebrated here in at the cultural center. Apart from that, the center has a full-fledged library. We have, books on Indian art, architecture, economy, finance. Various aspects. We have books at the library, which can be issued, and of course, you can be at the library and you can read there. We have a video library as well. So in case you want to borrow some CDs or DVDs on, on some Bollywood film, if you want to watch. So we have, DVDs of that. So you can come in and borrow those. So yes, so these are the various activities, that the cultural center is doing. Apart from this, we have tourism related activities. People want to travel to India. An interesting thing, I think that the center does is the sari tying workshop. Many people are, many Brazilians are intrigued to understand or learn how to really tie a sari. They feel that, it's a very difficult thing. So that's something that's of interest to many Brazilians. So these are the sort of activities that we have at the center. We used to have at the center before the pandemic. In the last 1 year, we've completely switched to the online mode, and again, it's more of talks and dance performances, music performances, concerts. So these are the things that we do. Apart from this, the center also gets, troops from India to come in and perform here, in Brazil, in festivals or important festivals that are happening. So that's something that's, it draws the Brazilians towards the cultural center. And as I said, all the activities are for free. So anyone who's interested in learning about India or knowing more about India, I think the Cultural Center is one place that, one can visit, and everyone is welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Puja. It's a very nice explanation, and I'm amazed because, it's been already almost 10 years. It's very interesting because I think most of Brazilians, they did not know about the existence of the Indian Cultural Center in São Paulo. So this is a really, really rich opportunity for all Brazilians like me who appreciate the Indian culture. I think I'm gonna do the cooking classes. I'm very interested.
Senhor Daswani, o senhor é um empresário bem-sucedido que passou por vários momentos desafiadores da economia brasileira e hoje possui um restaurante autêntico indiano por quase 30 anos, que é muito renomado. O que levou o senhor a abrir um restaurante e mudar totalmente de setor de uma trading para a gastronomia?
Bom, é interessante, porque na Índia existem castas. E eu sou de casta que é comerciante. Porque meu pai era comerciante, eu era comerciante e faz 1000 anos seguia. Então, eu, quando imigrei para o Brasil, eu abri até 5 lojas na Zona Franca de Manaus. E era depois importação e exportação. Eu mudei para São Paulo por causa da escola de minhas filhas. E aí eu também entrei na exportação. Mas a economia brasileira, o câmbio, a inflação, era em milhas de % por ano. Então, muita gente não sabia como funcionar, eu tampouco. E chegou o momento que eu parei minha importação, eu fechei minhas lojas, e eu não tinha mais nada a fazer. Mas eu sempre amava restaurante, abrir um restaurante era meu sonho. E a minha esposa Mancha é uma excelente cozinheira, ela cozinha muito bem. E eu sempre achei que na terceira cidade mais grande do mundo não tinha um restaurante autêntico. Então era meu sonho. Aí eu pensei que vamos tentar. E tinha mais um restaurante apenas em São Paulo, que era muito bom, mas ela também era brasileirada, quer dizer, a comida era autêntica. E todo mundo aqui em São Paulo pensava que aquele restaurante era comida indiana e a nossa não era, porque era diferente. Então, no início foi difícil e realmente nós pensamos 10 vezes em fechar o restaurante, mas agora chegamos, eu acho que trabalhando com persistência é bom. Então, chegamos agora a quase 28 anos e vamos seguir.
Nossa, realmente fascinante essa sua trajetória. É muito interessante escutar de empreendedores como o senhor, né, que migrou, estava em outro estado, veio para São Paulo e já pensou, né, como todo bom empresário e empreendedor, às vezes pensa, quantas vezes, né, qualquer empresário não pensou em já fechar, mas assim, como o senhor mesmo mencionou, que o restaurante ele é muito tradicional, realmente aqui em São Paulo, eu acho que ele é muito conhecido por todo mundo que mora aqui, e eu, por exemplo, eu já adorava e já conhecia antes mesmo de ter conhecido a sua esposa. E a comida realmente ela é deliciosa e o ambiente também é sempre muito agradável.
Miss Puja, as the director of the Indian Cultural Center, in your view, what is the ingredient that started to draw the attention of Brazilians and the world to Indian films outside the Bollywood circuit that had already been recognized?
See, I think Bollywood is a very clear representation of India's popular culture. If one needs to, know more about India and how the celebrations are, and I think it's more a representation of that. What India culture is all about. When we talk about Bollywood reaching the international platform, I think. Slumdog Millionaire is one film, which really took India or brought India to the international platform, and that's when I think internationally, people started knowing about Bollywood films, etc. Though I think the history of Bollywood or the Bollywood as such really goes way back. If you talk about films like Pather Panchali or Dil To Chahta Hai, and such films have been, popular throughout. But I think the breakthrough really came with Slumdog Millionaire. And in case of Brazil, I think the breakthrough really came with the daily television show that which was aired here in Brazil by Globo, which was shot in India. It was called Caminhos das Indias, India a Love Story. I think that's something that really brought Bollywood to Brazil, because if you've had the opportunity to really watch this particular series, it really takes a lot from what Bollywood is all about. It had a lot of songs and dance, etc., which is a part of the Bollywood films. In fact, the series had songs taken from films like Mangal Pandey or Omkara, and the dance representations were also something very similar to what is being represented in Bollywood. So I think that's the breakthrough that there for Brazil, really, if you talk about it. As far as the interest of the Brazilians in Bollywood is concerned, I think it's more to do with the Bollywood songs and also the Bollywood dance, because I think both dance and music is a very quintessential part of Bollywood. You know, you really can't take it away from it. And many people actually watch films, you know, just for the dance and just for the music also, really. And I think that's something that has, you know, really or has been of interest to Brazilians. You see many Bollywood dance groups here, you know, who are performing, who are teaching, and people are interested in learning these, the Bollywood dance also. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we have the time we have the carnival. That time we have a blocko happening, which is called Blocko Bollywood. So this Blocko Bollywood, I think, started way back, I think, in 2016 with just 700 people, I think. At that time, you know, just 700 people were participated in the first Blocko. And the last Blocko that we had in 2019, last year we did not have it because of the pandemic. So the 2019 Blocko had something like 8,000 people attending it. So that really talks about the popularity of Bollywood and the Bollywood dance and music here in Brazil. So yes, of course, you know, Netflix and all these are offering many Bollywood films as well, and people are appreciating it. But I think it's mainly to do with, you know, what really attracts people towards Bollywood is, you know, the dance and drama. Of course, you know, the costumes is definitely there, you know, because everything is, you know, in many of the Bollywood films, we see that, you know, things are slightly loud and, you know, it's something that really attracts people. So from that point of view, yes, I think the breakthrough really was with the TV series. So thanks to Globo for that. I think it came in 2009. So 2009 was a very, I think, important year also, you know, when it came to the India-Brazil relationship as well, you know. 2009, we had the first BRICS summit that happened. And 2009 was the year when we had the, the TV series being launched. So the series is done in India, and it was a collaboration of India and Brazil cultural ties, I think. So I think it's an interesting thing, because when I remember when I came to Brazil in 2018, I came here in Brazil, and the first thing that you hear about was about the TV series. You know, everyone was, you know, really talking about that. So I think a lot of information about India really reached people through that series. So I think that was quite important, really.
It's amazing everything you said. I really remember the Slumdog Millionaire is really an amazing movie, and they deserve the prize. And for me, as an Asian descendant and K-movie and K-drama lover, I really enjoy the Indian movies. First, because they show a lot of the culture, which is precious to me, and I can always learn something. And second, that I can see a lot of similarities with the Korean and Japanese culture. That intrigues me and makes me want for more, and it's really, really enjoyable. And also, I was there at the time at the carnival, dancing with the Bollywood block, which is amazing. Senhor Daswani, ultimamente observamos mudanças cada vez mais rápidas no comportamento no paladar dos brasileiros. Com a globalização e o constante desenvolvimento da tecnologia, quais foram as principais mudanças que o senhor observou no consumidor em relação ao seu restaurante?
Eu vou falar primeiro o comportamento. Quando abri o restaurante, aqui em São Paulo, não tinha costume de fazer reserva. Pessoas só vinham, às vezes, 10, 15 pessoas junto, e eles pensavam que sempre o restaurante tinha lugar. E isso criava muita confusão. Depois, a gente começou a ter comida por quilo, que a gente não tinha antes. Depois abriu muitos restaurantes japoneses. O libanês tinha um pouco, mas depois também expandiu. E as churrascarias. Então, mudou bastante o comportamento nesse sentido. E no início, a gente não tinha delivery. e depois delivery pegou um ritmo bastante acelerado, e hoje você sabe que o faturamento bastante elevado do restaurante é delivery. Bom, e também eu notei que o consumidor brasileiro, ele quer mudar. Por exemplo, a comida indiana na Índia, tem muitos restaurantes fusion. Então, eles misturam comida de outros países, talvez Japão, e isso está na Índia, está pegando fogo. Eu acho também aqui em São Paulo tem alguns restaurantes com esse tipo de cardápio. E a tendência é mudar nesse sentido.
Senhor Daswani, acredito que em todos os nichos, né, observamos o aumento do delivery, como o senhor mencionou, e do comércio online. E observamos também que as empresas que não conseguiram se adaptar a esse formato, eles também tiveram uma grande queda, né, durante esse período. Mas esse histórico que o senhor traçou também do boom dos restaurantes japoneses, depois libaneses, também é muito interessante, de repente, para as pessoas que não moram aqui em São Paulo, que não tenham esse conhecimento, né? Eu me sinto privilegiada por estar, assim, nessa cidade cosmopolita e ter uma culinária, assim, autêntica como a do Tandoor, que, mais uma vez, eu repito, realmente é excelente. Now, Ms. Puja, within the creative economy, which sector is the most in demand by Brazilians in relation to India?
I feel there are three main pillars, I think, which really connect Brazil and India. I mean, of course, people are attracted towards a lot of things in India, but I think here in Brazil, there are three important things: yoga, Ayurveda, and spirituality. From Brazil, people often travel to India. The tourists who travel to India mainly go, in search of, as a wellness tourist, maybe, going for Ayurveda therapies, going to learn Ayurveda from, the school, universities or the various, Ayurveda schools that are there. So that's something that really attracts many of the Brazilians. Yoga is again something which is very, very, very popular among the Brazilians here. And I don't know. I mean, if you're aware, I think there would be around 500 yoga schools here in Brazil, all practicing, various forms of yoga. But yes, I mean, people are looking forward to going to India and learning it really from the right people and at the right place. So yes, I mean, yoga and Ayurveda are definitely important. The third thing is spirituality. People, travel to India in search of finding answers to questions, actually looking for the unknown, really, I would say, people often travel to India in search of that. Finding answers for themselves, traveling maybe to places like Haridwar, Rishikesh, Banaras. These are, the spots really people, travel to India. And many people talk about it, that of the transformational journeys, so that's something that people say that, they travel to India and life has changed for them. Because just by meeting people, just by getting in touch with things that they were really interested in, has really changed them for life. But I hear of people who travel to India to get married, and so yes, I think these are the three important things: Ayurveda, yoga, and spirituality. Apart from that, yes, I mean, you have dance and music, and culinary again is something that is of great interest to many of the Brazilians. The spices, etc., is something that really is attracting the Brazilians to India. So yeah, these are the main things, I think.
It's amazing how Brazilians really have an interest in Ayurveda, yoga, and spirituality, as you mentioned. I was looking forward to your answer, but now I think that among my friends, everyone knows at least one of these items or has already tried it at some point in their lives. Thank you very much. Agora, Sr. Daswani, dentro das diferenças culturais entre o Brasil e a Índia, o senhor mencionou uma vez que na Índia há mais de 264 maneiras diferentes de se preparar um grelhado. Como o senhor vê essa criatividade dos indianos sendo aplicada nos negócios?
Eu acho que a Índia tem 75 anos apenas. E, igual a muitos países de Ásia, a Índia se tornou independente sem indústria, sem carro, sem telefone, sem nada. E hoje, por exemplo, recentemente, a Índia mandou um foguete para o Marte e o custo foi 70 milhões de dólares apenas. É mais barato de pegar um carro e dirigir. Eu acho que a diferença entre o Brasil e a Índia é o custo Brasil. Eu lembro, 50 anos atrás, na Índia, reciclava tudo. E quando eu vim para Manaus, como era muito quente, queimava o compressor de ar-condicionado cada mês. E simplesmente eles vinham trocar o compressor e sem tentar consertar. A mesma com o carro, trocar as peças. E até hoje, no Brasil, é a mesma coisa. É difícil consertar coisas, simplesmente trocam. O custo Brasil, eu acho, ainda hoje é muito caro. Um remédio na Índia custa 1/3 que custa no Brasil. O táxi, tudo. Eu acho que a inovação na Índia, em 75 anos, foi tremendo. E imagina 1 bilhão e 400 milhões de pessoas, a alimentação. E a Índia quase é autossustentável, né? E no Brasil, nós temos tanto agro, petróleo, água potável, e estamos mais acomodados como Nigéria e Arábia Saudita, porque eles têm petróleo. Então, eu acho que no Brasil, se eles tentam inovar mais, economizar mais, eu acho que a pobreza vai diminuir.
Certo. Nossa, senhor Daswani, realmente o brasileiro também, a criatividade é um dos pontos fortes, né? Mas como o senhor mencionou, as taxas, né? O custo aqui acaba ficando bastante alto comparado com outros países, mesmo fazendo um parâmetro, por exemplo, com a Coreia do Sul também, que teve um gap muito diferente de crescimento em relação ao Brasil, e como o senhor mencionou, na Índia, a gente está observando esse crescimento também nesses últimos tempos. Então, imagina, a Índia acabou de enviar, foi para Marte, o Brasil nem foi para a Lua ainda. Então, é uma pena, mas realmente os indianos estão se mostrando bastante criativos. Muito obrigada. Miss Puja, also addressing the differences in cultural aspects between the two countries, in your view, how could both countries benefit from this exchange of information that the Cultural Center provides?
As I mentioned, the Cultural Center is doing a lot of activities for the promotion of Indian culture here in Brazil. Apart from that, it's not just the promotion of India, but I think it's also connecting with the Brazilians here. A very important aspect of what the Cultural Center does is, again, for the offering of scholarships for people who are interested and in Brazilians who are interested in studying in India. So the scholarship is a fully funded scholarship and is available for not just for the culture aspect of it, but if you want to go and do your graduation in India, or if you're interested in pursuing any particular art or craft, or you want to learn Ayurveda, yoga, etc. So that's something that that the Cultural Center offers. So these scholarships are available for the Brazilians, and many of the Brazilians have actually availed of the scholarship, and they've traveled to India and they've studied and come back, and they're now practicing the form here. Apart from that, I think another important aspect is the establishment or the setting up of India study chairs. So these India study chairs we are looking at setting up these chairs at the important universities here in Brazil. One of them being University of São Paulo, and the other private universities, also in other universities in other states in Minas Gerais and Rio Grande do Sul. So we're looking at collaborations with various universities and setting up chairs which invites many of the Indian scholars to come and teach here in Brazil. So there may be a certain aspect maybe say international relations or economics or mathematics or any other subject which may be where the Indians are excelling, and the Brazilians can really learn from it, and they can benefit from that. So I think this establishment of the chairs is something that is very important and has been very beneficial also. The third thing is the signing of the the MOUs or memorandum of understanding with various universities for academic collaborations. So which means that you get scholars, Brazilian scholars travel to India, Indian scholars come to India, Indian students go to come to Brazil, and similarly the Brazilian students go to India. So I think the collaborations or the exchange of information is really happening at these three levels which I just mentioned. Apart from that, I think of course the cultural aspects of the two countries, and we know that Brazil and India culturally are different. I mean, we see those differences, for anyone who's traveled to India, we see those differences, be it in the attire, be it in our cuisine, be it in, the way certain celebrations are. So I think that there are differences. Yet at the same time, I think, there are certain aspects where Brazilians and Indians are very same. At least I feel so in the last 3 years that I've been here. There are certain aspects where the Brazilians and Indians. If you look at the family system, here in Brazil, and the family system in India, it's more or less same. So the cultural values really remain the same, I think, and that's a takeaway from for both the cultures really. Also, India, a certain part of India was also a Portuguese colony. Goa was a Portuguese colony. So when you go to Goa, you will see, that there are those cultural connects. In the attire of the people, you will say the carnivals, actually, that's again something which is celebrated. We have the system of the tradition of having carnivals in Goa. So that cultural connect really remains. So I think the cultural center can really play a very important bond in addressing these cultural differences and bringing the two cultures closer. Trying to do away with these cultural differences which are there, which are important. Yet I think at some level, the Brazilians also are, looking forward to imbibing the Indian culture, in their daily lives. Many people, if you, in Brazil, I think many people are switching to a vegetarian cuisine. Their daily lives are, involving things to do with, pranayama, yoga, Ayurveda, meditation. So these are things that that the Brazilians are learning from India. Similarly, there are many things that the Brazilians or the Indians also are learning, at a similar level from the Brazilians also. So these cultural connects, yes, differences are there, I think, but the more the tourism between the two countries, increases, I think, the possibility or the areas of the bonding between the two countries is much more stronger. So I think these scholarships and these these MOUs, the setting up of chairs is a good thing. Similarly, I think in the recent past we've had the opportunity to send many Brazilian troops to India to go and perform in India. The Gizmonti group was in India, I think, in 2019. They went to perform in, one of the biggest, music festivals in Kolkata. So I think this sort of an exchange which is happening, troops coming in from India, or the artists going in from Brazil, Brazilian films being, a part of the Goan Film Festival. We had, entries going in from the film festival. That's again something that is, what was, it was done by, or it was, we helped them, to participate in that. Last year we had a global group going in and making a documentary on Ganga, which was, it was, I don't know if you saw it, but it was like a 5-episode thing, which talked about the journey of, of Ganga completely. So these are the things, these are the intercultural dialogues, I think, which the Cultural Center is really trying to promote and help. Thank you.
I hope that all Brazilians take advantage of all these opportunity that you just mentioned and all these benefit. And for those who did not know about the Indian Culture Center, that our program has helped to spread this information. Senhor Daswani, existe algum restaurante brasileiro na Índia conhecido como Tandoor aqui no Brasil? E com toda a sua experiência profissional, qual o conselho que o senhor daria aos empresários de ambos os países que possuem interesse em negócios na gastronomia?
Bom, na Índia me falaram que tem uma cidade perto de Bombai que se chama Pune e tem 100 famílias brasileiras. E abriu um restaurante brasileiro e parece que é muito bom e vão muitos indianos também. É assim, você se abre um restaurante indiano ou brasileiro na Índia, você não pode colocar muito carne bovina, porque na Índia a carne bovina é sagrado. Então, existem os muçulmanos e católicos que vão comer, mas então o seu público vai ser menor. Então, nós temos que ver esse aspecto. Abrir uma churrascaria na Índia seria bom, mas também vai fechar em pouco tempo. E a mesma coisa, como eu falei antes, no Brasil, todos os restaurantes indianos aqui, eles estão com mais ou menos nosso cardápio. E às vezes colocam um preço menor, eles acham, mas o público aqui, eles querem qualidade. Eles, então, tem um nome, então o pessoal vai para Tandoor. E se eu fosse abrir um outro restaurante indiano, certamente o cardápio vai ser fusion, porque isso, nós temos o restaurante, por exemplo, Nobu, no mundo inteiro, e é um aspecto que foi um sucesso. Então, eu acho que o povo brasileiro, especialmente em São Paulo, eles estão abertos para a mudança. E o mesmo cardápio indiano, eu acho que está cansado.
Bom, sábios conselhos, né, de um empresário que passou por todas as oscilações da economia brasileira e hoje possui o restaurante indiano autêntico número 1 de São Paulo, né? Muito obrigada, senhor Daswani. Hoje abordamos um pouco sobre as questões culturais da Índia e sobre a gastronomia indiana, como negócio com o restaurante Tandoor. Espero que você tenha gostado do nosso programa e do conteúdo que trouxemos. Se você gostou, está convidado a nos acompanhar em nossas redes sociais. Compartilhe com seus amigos e ajude-nos também a divulgar a cultura asiática no mundo dos negócios. Agora, se você tiver perguntas ou sugestões sobre países e temas que você gostaria de assistir aqui, nos escreva via direct no Instagram do nosso programa. Nos vemos na semana que vem. Até lá!